What we want to do now is create DNS records based off of our Lync server topology before we actually get into the installation of the servers. So you can see here, I've already implemented split DNS. So my primary SIP domain is interfaceTTlabs.com. I've got a zone for that without any A records in it. So take a look at Lync1. So this is a host record for lync1.interface.local. His IP address is 192.168.3.40. So that server was added as a member of our front-end enterprise pool. Our pool name was pool.interfaceTTlabs.com. So Lync has something called DNS load balancing where I can create multiple records for that pool name. And then later on, I can add Lync2 to that. So I would have two records out here in this zone called pool. For now, I'm just going to create one. So I'll call this pool. And then I'm going to use 192.168.3.40. So that's going to basically resolve the pool name to Lync server 1. Later on, what I would do is add a second host record, same exact name, different IP address for Lync server 2. We'll get into that when we talk about high availability. So in addition to the pool record, we also want to create a record for the meeting URL. So meet.interfaceTTlabs.com. That's also at this point going to point to my front end server. Same thing for the dial-in record. And finally, we have one for our admin URL as well. So those are all going to point to the front end server. So 3.40 there. And notice that I'm not creating a reverse lookup record. So I'm not creating a pointer record right now. I haven't been. That's because I don't have a reverse lookup zone created for this. Although as a best practice, that's something you could do here. I'm just not doing it. It's not required by Lync. So that takes care of my A records. I also want to create an SRV record for my Lync clients so they can automatically find the correct front-end server to register for. So when I fire up my Lync client, if I try to sign in as Mike at interfaceTTlabs.com, the client will do an SRV record lookup against DNS and try to find the front-end pool server name for me to register against. Whatever pool server I find or whichever front-end server I actually connect to, if I'm home to somewhere else, he'll just redirect me to the right place. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click and select other new records. And from this list, I'm going to select service location or SRV. And this is going to be my SRV record for automatic client sign-in. So I'm going to say underscore SIP internal TLS. The protocol is going to be TCP. And the port number for this is 5061. Now where it says host offering this service, that's going to be our pool. So pool.interfaceTTlabs.com. And there we go. So remember that so far, these records are just pointing to the server. At this point, we've only created a topology. We haven't installed the server yet, so these aren't actually live. However, you can use NSLOOKUP to query these records and make sure that they've been created successfully. So just run the command prompt here. And if you haven't done this before, simply you would come in here and run NSLOOKUP. And by default, you're going to be querying A records, so you could just make sure that meet.fabric or .interfaceTTlabs.com, make sure that works. And if you look at that there, that is resolving. So that's 192.168.3.40. I could also do an SRV type of lookup. So I could do a set type equals SRV. And I can say underscore SIP internal TLS dot underscore TCP dot interface TTlabs.com. And based off of that output, you can see here that that resolves to the pool name. So pool.interfaceTTlabs.com. So if that didn't come back, potentially there might be some problems. There's also some other fallback records we could create, but this is the base minimum for automatic client sign-in. That's also the process for creating those other records as well for your simple URLs.